Okay, this video is a demonstration, again, of using a system of equations to solve a real-life problem. Now, these particular problems are called mixture problems because, as you can probably guess, you're going to mix two things together and come up with a whole brand new object or brand new thing. There's lots of ways to solve these. This is a system of equations, as I mentioned, I think, in a previous video, that are going to have two variables and two equations. So our task is to find what those two variables are and what the two equations are. When I use mixture problems, I like to use a little bit of a graphic help here. I use them for all mixture problems. Let me show you what I do. I use something called the magic cylinders. Now, you don't have to draw these perfectly, but I do find the visual kind of helpful. Because what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be mixing two things and pouring it into a larger container. So the visual kind of works for me. Now in this, you'll notice that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, and I'm going to put a number or a quantity in each one of those spaces. Now let me show you what I do with these two mixtures things too. I put quantities here, okay? Here, here, and here. So let me write that to the side. Quantities. Up on the top, I put down things like, I don't know, a percentage or a price, mostly percentages or prices or value, that sort of thing. I like to think of these as like a can at a grocery store. And if you ever look at a can at a grocery store, they always put 50-ounce thing here, and sometimes they stamp the price on the top. That usually kind of helps me understand how this works. Now I'm going to actually translate now this information into one of these 6 places. Now let's see what we can do. We're going to call this cleaner A, and let's call this cleaner B. And it says that cleaner A is 12% alcohol. Percentages go up here, so I'm going to put 12% as 0.12. Always convert that to a decimal form. Cleaner B is 30% alcohol, and then the resulting mixture, the mixture of AB, I'm just going to call it AB, even though it doesn't say that up here, is 20% alcohol. Okay, so I've taken care of my percentages. Now the quantities. It says how much of each, how much of A, I don't know A, so I'm going to call it X. How much of B should I use? I don't know that one either, so I'm going to call it Y. To make 90 ounces, so I'm going to put that right there. Now from that information, I have just set up my two equations. Now let's think about that. The first one is sitting there right in front of us. X plus Y equals 90. Pretty straightforward, actually. The second equation is also right in front of us. We just have to learn how to read it. It's 0.12x plus 0.30y is equal 0.20 times 90. That's your system. Those are the two equations. Now we have to solve for x, and then we'll be able to solve for y as well. Okay? Let me go over how I did that again. Remember, in my magic cylinders, this part right along the cross here are your quantities. So whatever you have up in your problem, put the quantities here. If you don't know it, you put an x and a y. Those are the variables. Across the top, you want to put things like price or percentage or value, or a class is worth 3 credits or a class is worth 4 credits. You'd put that up there. Okay? And then when you go ahead and write your system, it's you just read the quantities straight across. X plus y is 90. And then you multiply these plus multiply these to equal multiply of those two. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and see if we can solve this one. Second step. I could do a couple things here. I can solve it as a elimination method, or I could solve it in the substitution method. Let's solve it in the elimination method. What would I do? Let's say I want to get rid of my x's, okay? And I'm going to multiply this by a negative Now why am I doing that? Because when I multiply this times the x, I'm going to get the same number but opposite values, so I can add these two equations together. Let me just demonstrate that a little bit better. You can see what I mean when I explain this a little bit more. So over here, I'm going to get a negative 0.12x plus a negative 0.12y is equal to a negative 0.12 times 90. Okay? Down here I have a positive 0.12x plus a positive 0.30y, and that's going to give me a positive 0.20 times 90. When I add these two equations together, notice what happens. The x's eliminate or fall away, and I'm left with a positive 0.18y, and actually let's go ahead and do some math here. Negative 0.12 times 90 is equal to a negative 10.8. This is going to be equal to a positive 18. Add those two guys up, and I'm going to get 7.2. Okay, so a negative, 0.18y is equal to 7.2. Let's divide 7.2 divided by 1.18, and I get 40. So y is equal to 40. That sounds pretty good. It definitely makes sense in the course of the problem. It's not greater than our number over here. So if I have y, now find x if y equals 40. Plug it into either one of the equations. X plus y is equal to 90. X plus 40 is equal to 90. X is equal to 50. Let's see if that makes sense in the context of our problem. According to my answer, I need 50 ounces of 12% alcohol plus 40 ounces of a 30% alcohol cleaner to make 90 ounces of a 20% cleaner. And sure enough, it makes sense. Okay, you do these all the same way with the magic cylinders. Good luck, a little bit of practice, and you'll be in good shape.